It's been 6 years since Apple launched the iPhone 11, and yet it's still going strong in many people's hands. But how does it really hold up in 2025? Almost 2026. Today we'll take a detailed look at iPhone 11's strengths, limitations, and whether it is still a good buy or a decent backup device. Let's dive in. Let's start with the screen. The iPhone 11 has a 6.1-inch liquid retina IPS display. It's got solid color accuracy, good brightness, and is definitely usable in all conditions. However, it's still an IPS panel, not OLED. That means you're missing out on the deep blacks and contrast found on the newer iPhones. And yes, those bezels are pretty chunky by today's standards, but nothing deal-breaking. Also, it's stuck at 60Hz refresh rate, for which I will always condemn Apple, especially considering the competition's offers at that specific time. The build quality though, solid. It feels great in the hand, and those curved edges actually make it more comfortable than some of the sharp-edged iPhones that came after it, like the iPhone 13. Plus, it comes in a bunch of colors, which I really appreciate, something that Apple has tuned down in recent years, unfortunately. Now, battery life. Mine's still running the original battery from 2019, so unsurprisingly, it's not amazing anymore. Still, for a 6-year-old phone, it's holding up better than I expected, even though I have to charge it at least once during the day. If you're planning to buy one, I recommend getting a refurbished model or grabbing a cheap used one and swapping in a fresh battery. With a healthy battery, the iPhone 11 can still get you through a day of at least moderate use. Performance-wise, the iPhone 11 is still surprisingly good. It's running the A13 bionic chip built on a 7nm process, and it holds its own even today. Apps open reliably, games run smoothly. Yes, it's a touch slower than the newer chips, but it's still far ahead of mid-range Android phones running Snapdragon or MediaTek processors on a long-term basis. Day-to-day, I haven't noticed any major slowdowns or hiccups, which is pretty impressive for a phone this age. Social media apps work as expected, not a lot to complain about. The interface itself also feels good and fast enough. Obviously, Apple does wonders with those transitions between apps and different menus, which are meant to hide the potential lags or hiccups. But hey, I'm not complaining about them. Now, let's talk about the cameras. The main rear camera still delivers solid results. You'll get sharp, vibrant photos in good lighting, and even in low light, it performs decently. Not great, but acceptable at least. I believe that it still has a lot to offer, and overall, it beats a lot of the new mid-range phones. The ultra-wide camera is, well, it's there. It can produce usable images, but don't expect miracles. Even though sometimes you actually get some decent photos out of it. But I wouldn't necessarily rely on it, especially when you compare it to the main camera. This is something about which I complained on my iPhone 13 review as well. The ultra-wide camera is simply not good enough at this stage. You can definitely tell the difference between this and the main camera. Still, if you want to use it, it's there, and if you pay a bit of attention at what you're doing, you can get some decent results. Selfies are decent and perfectly usable for social media. I am not really the selfie guy, but I'm pretty happy with the details on my skin and the hair shades. The colors can be more natural for my taste, but at the same time, I haven't seen a lot of people complaining at the time about this kind of processing, so yeah. In the past or newer iterations, they have rectified this. Well, they have tuned down this processing because people were starting to actually want more natural skin colors. So at least for me, that's a good thing. Video, on the other hand, is where the iPhone 11 still shines. It shoots 4K at 60 FPS, and the results are honestly great. With good lighting, you can absolutely film YouTube content with this phone and get usable footage. So if you want a decent device to start making videos, this can work. You also have gimmicks like slow motion and time-lapse if you are interested in such things, so the iPhone 11 has plenty to offer from this point of view. Face ID is still there and works great. fast, reliable, and very convenient, at least for me. It's not as quick as the latest iterations, but it gets the job done, and by using it, I remembered how much I actually miss it. Software-wise, you will be able to upgrade it to iOS 26, 6 years after launch. And I believe this is simply awesome, because if you're on a budget, software support is something you rarely get, especially with the second-hand phones. I wouldn't be too excited though, as this will probably be the last major update it will get, but I hope and I'm pretty sure Apple will provide security patches for at least 2 more years. Charging is slow. And yes, we're still stuck with a Lightning port here, which is definitely frustrating if you've already made the jump to USB-C, at least, like I have. Don't get me wrong, Apple never had the fastest charging on the market or data transfer, USB 2 standard here by the way, but this doesn't have to be a drag. There's wireless charging support, which is A+, but no MagSafe. Still, accessories are widely available and affordable, so you won't have trouble finding cases or chargers. So, is this iPhone 11 still worth in 2025, 2026 soon? If you get one in good conditions for a fair price, or better yet, refurbished with a new battery, absolutely. It's not a flagship anymore, but it's still fast, reliable, and takes solid photos and videos. Its biggest downsides are the aging display tech, slow charging, and the looming end of software support. But for casual use, or even as a secondary phone, I believe it still holds its ground. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Are you still using an iPhone 11, or are you thinking of picking one up? Drop a comment, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more honest tech reviews and retrospectives. That's it from me. That's it for this video. I'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.